And good afternoon, everybody. This is Vincent Milletti with Milletti Law. I am the founder, partner, lead attorney here at Milletti Law. The website is www.millettilaw.com, MILETTILAW.com, millettilaw.com. The date today is Thursday, August 12th, 2021. First and foremost, as a preliminary matter, I will apologize in advance. I've been trying to be more professional in these phone calls, in these small little videos. I've been trying to be more professional. I've been trying to look a little more professional. I've been trying to, wear better attire, try to look a little more attorney-ish. So, whatever. Just so you know what's going on in my car right now, I have 4 pizza pies from L&B. For those of you who are from Brooklyn, just keep in mind, this is L&B. I have 4 pies from L&B. I have 4 quarts of Spumoni. So the pies are in my back seat. So my back seat is 350 degrees. The Spumoni is in my front seat, which has the air conditioner on, so the Spumoni is 32 degrees. And I have like this amazing hot and cold flash right now in my car going on. And for me to wear a button down right now, I may melt and die. So here's the tank top, t-shirt, whatever. Point is, whatever. Usually I've been trying to do a little better, but it is what it is. Okay, so with that out of the way, and after disclosing that we have a whole bunch of pies in the car, let's get down to it. The title of this video is called The Top 4 Documents That Every Employer Needs in Order to Have a Successful Employee Onboarding. The top 4 documents that every employer needs in order to have a successful employee onboarding. So, quick overview, what are we talking about here? So, documents. What paperwork do you have as an employer? Onboarding. You review this great candidate, he or she is amazing, great resume, super duper work ethic, you really love it, so you want to bring them on board, right? So onboarding, you want to hire that employee, bring them on board. So every employer, has certain documents. You have an intake form, I don't know, some employers have disclaimers, some employees have certain warranties they want to sign, or whatever the case is. The purpose of this video is to let you know the top 4 of those documents that every employee should have in order to have a successful onboarding, and also to as a great risk management tool, risk mitigation, because these documents will help you in the event of any litigation. So without further ado, so number 1 is going to be the employee handbook. Employee handbook is super important. Why? Because it creates a presumption in the courtroom that if you were to get sued, let's say for discrimination, you were to get sued for retaliation, harassment, you can effectively say, we are a non-harassing employer. And how do you know? Because look at our handbook. We attest to a non-harassment policy, we attest to a non-retaliation policy, and all that fancy language. So basically, handbooks create what's known as a legal presumption for the employer that the working conditions reflect that which is stated in the handbook. So how does this play into effect? You hire Vinny, you hire me. I sit there and I go, in like a month, I say, you know what? This place is crazy. I don't really like it. They harass me. They harass me because, I'm Italian American, or they harass me because I'm white. And then the employer comes back and says, oh, no. We're a non-harassing employer because look at our handbook. Our handbook says we're a non-harassing employer. We attest to you, we promise that we're a non-harassing employer. So off the bat, now the burden is back on me to disprove that, right? The point is, it creates a presumption for the employer of protection. So the first document you're going to want, as every employer in Brooklyn, in the world, you're going to want a handbook, an employee handbook that reflects like the values, the rules, and cultures of any organization. They'll sign on the last page that they received a handbook, they have some kind of acknowledgement, and life will be much better from that point going forward. If you do not have a handbook, I strongly encourage you to call me and let's make one up. If you don't want to spend money, go get a Bloomberg form and just get one that's like a template and just fill in the blanks. You need something. Like, having nothing is no option. Like, not having a handbook at all is just death for an employer. So it's just not good at all. It's a big problem. So make sure you get something in place. Of course, use me, which I love the most, but if you didn't, wouldn't be particularly upset, go do something though. Don't have nothing. Have a plan. Okay, so now the second document I'd like all of these to have, and it makes a lot of sense, is confidentiality and a non-compete, right? So you could couch it as a confidentiality agreement, you can couch it as an NDA, you can couch it as a non-compete agreement, but you need some agreement that A, protects your business, protects your proprietary trade secrets. You also need a clause, a contract that will protect you from your employee absorbing all the learning from your business and then going elsewhere. And also, 3, you need something that protects the employee from when they do go elsewhere, taking other employees with them. So all this could be nicely packaged in what is the second document, a confidentiality agreement. It could be a unilateral confidentiality agreement. It could be a mutual confidentiality agreement. It could be an NDA, a unilateral NDA, non-disclosure agreement. But that is your second document. You need some kind of confidentiality agreement, some kind of NDA, some kind of non-compete. You need some kind of restrictive covenant language document in order to be able to properly protect your business, okay? So that's the second portion. The third portion, believe it or not, is an offer letter. Something that articulates to the offeree, the person that you're offering the job to, something that articulates what the job entails. Why is this so important? It keeps you honest, number one, and number two, it prevents the employee from later saying they never had any, they were never told about these conditions. So a perfect example, employee says, well, you told me my bonus level was going to be 30%. And you're like, you're crazy. I'm paying you a salary. Why would I pay you a 30% bonus level? It doesn't even make sense. It's a lot of money. So you would come back and say, oh, wait a minute. I looked at your offer letter, and your offer letter said that your bonus was only, your bonus would be 10%, not whatever, 30% or whatever I said before. But the point is that offer letter is just saved you. That offer letter saved you the headache, saved you the drama, saved you the nonsense, and it held their feet to the fire and held everybody responsible for what they've stated. So keep in mind too, another big thing is with the offer letter is a lot of employers get nervous that it creates a contract of employment. It doesn't. So we're in New York, okay? We're in New York, we're in New Jersey, California, and Florida. Employment is what's known as at will, right? So an employer can terminate you at any time, whenever they want, for whatever reason, so long as that reason is non-discriminatory and, doesn't violate any law or statute. So a perfect example, you could be an at-will employee, but, they can't terminate you at will simply because they hate Spanish people or something to that effect. Like, you can't have that, right? So the good thing about the offer letter, though, is the offer letter keeps their feet to the fire, keeps everybody honest, it discloses everything out there, and it doesn't create employment. It doesn't create a guarantee of employment. It's just basically that offer letter serves as a manifestation of your intent to hire somebody, and it discusses what you're actually particularly offering. So essentially, the offer letter is essentially just disclosing to the person in writing what your particular offer is that you're providing for them. And then the fourth final document I think is really, really, really super important. It's disclaimer forms for the background checks, the Fair Credit Reporting Act form. So I think as an employer, you should always invest in background checks. You should invest in reviewing the Social Security number. You should invest in a drug test. You should invest in a criminal background check and a DMV search. So those 4 items, right? You want to invest in social, DMV, background check, and drug testing. Why? Very, very, very simple concept. You want to know what you have in store for you. You're hiring somebody who came out of nowhere. They just basically maybe they just uploaded a resume to LinkedIn. Maybe it was just a referral of a friend or whatever it is. And you don't know who this person is from anywhere, right? At least it gives you a sense of what you're dealing with before the person's coming on board. Every state has some kind of rules when it comes to what you can do with background checks, right? Whether you can terminate them immediately, whether you have to give them a second. I think Jersey has ban the box or something. I think in New Jersey, New York might have something similar too. But the point is, you need to know who you're dealing with, because if you do not know who you're dealing with, it's very likely you're going to be hiring not the dentist, but you're going to be hiring the secretary, and that's a problem, because what's going to wind up happening is you may not know, and something may go down, and then it'll just be clear on his face, and you'll get stuck. It's something that you could have avoided. What if you were going to hire somebody for, let's say, like a verifications role with credit card processing, and then they had a lot of fraudulent they had a lot of charges where they were committing fraud on people, or a lot of convictions that they were doing fraudulent practices. Like, this is something like you want to know ahead of time so you can nip it in the bud. So that's the fourth document that I would recommend that you must have is going to be like the Fair Credit Reporting Act form, the FCRA form, or some document that you need. You can get it also from your the background check company. I believe, well, the popular one is TruScreen. I think that's one of them. A lot of like a lot of hiring agencies, they do their own vetting like that, so that's very important. But I mean, you're definitely going to want to retain one. You're going to want to get that letter in place that the employee can sign it, prospective employee can sign it, and that are any problems, then they're going to get stuck. Like they're just not going to be able to. They're going to be able to like finish their application. They're going to be able to come to work. It's just going to be a problem. So that's where I would go with that. So that's your fourth item. So okay, the video is already running long. Very quick recap. Your top 4 documents that every employer should have on hand for a successful onboarding of an employee. The top 4 are going to be your handbook. It's going to be your restrictive covenant agreement, which sounds like a confidentiality agreement, an NDA, or a non-compete. Okay, so that's 2. That's a handbook. That's the restrictive covenant, the NDA. The third item is going to be the offer letter. You need to have a good offer letter out there that discusses what the job position, what the job entails, and it also provides that it's still provides as at will employment. And then the fourth document is going to be the document that you use to run your background checks, the document that facilitates the background checks, because that's huge. That's, again, you want to know who you're dealing with from the get-go. You want to know who are the problem employees. That's going to help you get there. Whether or not you can take action from what you come back with is a different ballgame, and we'll review that one by one. But generally speaking, that's where you want to be. Those are your 4 documents. If you have any questions, any concerns, you want to just discuss anything, pizza, Spumoni's, law, I'm here. The name is Vinny Miletti at Miletti Law. Founder, owner, partner. Website is www.milettilaw.com. MILETTILAW.com. And look, as always, yours in love, lifts, and law. And Vinny Miletti out. If you need me, here I am. Have a beautiful day, everybody.